Hi, I'm Stavros. Good morning and welcome to the Slieve Donard Resort and Spa here in Newcastle in County Down. I'm here for the 2017 Classic Car Show, which takes place in the ballroom of the hotel. But it's just a lovely location here, Newcastle, and it overlooks the Irish Sea. And in the background we have the Mourne Mountains. So time now to go inside the hotel and see what great cars have arrived at the show this year. I'm joined now by Bill Forsythe, who's going to take me on a tour of this year's show. So Bill, thank you very much for having me back.
Not at all, Stavros. Here we are again, our 23rd year staging a show such as this. I'm very pleased to do so, and of course for cancer research, not just for us. But yes, we have a great collection, a great collection to show you this year. And I think without further ado, we should march on with that and let you see what we have.
Let's go.
Yes, here we are at the beginning, of course, and we have a 79 BMW 635i, a very nice car indeed. Not too many of these left, certainly not in this condition, and comes with this factory fitted sunroof and alloy wheels and a lovely registration on it as well, registration being 635, which you often see. A beautiful car indeed, German built, beautiful car. And just behind that, we have a 1989 XR2, and look at that. Most of them would be lying around rotten now, not presentable, but this one obviously been restored and restored very well. It also comes with a factory fitted sunroof. Can I just bounce across to my right? And we have a very unusual car here from Italy, a Lancia, and it's a Lancia Integral, left-hand drive, very, very, very fast car, often made for 4-car rallies and has been rallied. This one I don't think has been rallied, but it's in lovely condition. Now, just moving on down behind the XR2, this is a very unusual Ford here. It's a Ford Classic. That's a good name to use today at this show, a Ford Classic, as we stand in among the classic cars. This Ford Classic has been restored to absolute perfection, and it's from the early 60s, 1961. A similar car to a Cortina or a Corsair, just with a different body on it, but the running gear would be just the same as the Cortina, and in fact Ford Anglias and what have you, all the same type of running gear. Just behind that we have a very unusual Mark II Escort rally car. Now it's 1979, but what makes it unusual is that it has a Nissan 3-litre twin cam engine on it, and this quite often happens where Mark II Escort rally cars end up with an engine other than Ford in it. But this one, specially built. It hasn't seen any rallies and probably never will, but it's built to that spec. It's built to that spec. Now, I'm just going to walk across here to another car from the 50s, would you believe? 1957, Triumph TR3. And it's a TS model. Now this Triumph TR3, again a Northern Ireland Reg car, has been restored and restored very well. And oddly enough, restored and owned by my own namesake, Forsythe, but no relation as far as I know. But this car with chrome wire wheels, it's very presentable indeed. Has been restored, including the refurb of the leather seats, and there's been nothing left to do. It's just absolutely super. Absolutely super. So maybe just have a wee look at this Mark 1 Golf here. It's a Mark 1 Golf GT actually. It's a GT and 1983. Again, finding a GT in that condition would be very difficult. A Northern Ireland Reg car again, and a lovely shade of blue. Back to German again, so German technology, bulletproof, easy to repair, easy to restore. The Rabbit was made for export, yes, it was made for export. And you know, Golfs, any car that were exported, they ended up with a most unusual badge in the back of them that made no sense to us, but it was just labelled and badged for a different country. But now this one here, obviously it's right-hand drive, so it's probably never made its way to the States or anywhere else. But the Rabbit Volkswagen Golf, very nice indeed, very nice indeed. So I think we should just have another look at a Ford here now again. Ford Escort Mark II again, with the period CB spotlights on it. What makes this restoration unusual is that it has not been painted with a Ford colour. The chap that owned this car is a painter, he's a car sprayer, and I think he told me that he has this car painted in a Lancia colour. I think it's a Lancia colour. It doesn't do it any harm. It's very nice. It's lovely indeed. And it's got the period RS wheels on it. And it's a 1976 car. So that's from a chap called Stephen Hearn from Auto Finishers. And as you can see, he can paint. That is a lovely, lovely coach finish. Absolutely lovely. So sitting beside that in Targa Red, I would assume, is a Porsche 911. This 1974 Porsche 911 is very unique in its shape. In 1974, that era of a 911 was just super, absolutely super car. Everybody wants a 74 Porsche. They're all, of course, very nice, but that particular model is very nice. And this one here, I'm not sure whether it's had restoration or not, but if it has, it's very, very well done. Very well done indeed. So moving on to the Toyota Celica ST 1600. We have it's in a chocolate brown metallic colour, and this car I know very well because it is a local car, and it ended up actually, it was so rotten you could have put it all in a bucket. That's how bad it was. And look at it today. It's absolutely lovely looking. It's very well restored again by a local restoration man who would tackle something that was beyond, and he did, and this is the result of it. Again, hardly any of these left at all. I did watch the restoration of this car, and I didn't think it was possible, but there you are. There's the evidence of a good restoration. And the BMW Stavros M3 left-hand drive, a bit like the Lancia, and that's just the way they were. If you want this car, if you want this model of a car, there's no doubt it'll be left-hand drive. A beautiful M3.
Maybe 50, 60,000.
Oh, that might not even buy that car. That car is again priceless. Very difficult to price that, but a beautiful car, a beautiful car indeed. Well, now the Bentley. Now this Bentley 1955 Bentley. It's a very unique car, and of course, well, we're now into money now. We're into big money now. We could be up maybe close on 800,000, 900,000 pounds for this car. This car is unique in the fact that it's a two-door. It's a two-door Bentley R-Type Continental. It has not been restored of late. It was repainted over 20 years ago, but after that repaint, it had been driving around and then left in not quite a barn, but in a garage where the engine was taken out of it and it was in bits. And this gentleman was able to obtain the car, and he employed someone to rebuild the engine, put it together for this show. What a find. What a find. An absolutely beautiful car from 1955. There's a bit of history with it, but it would take a bit of time to tell you all the history of it. We're now stepping across onto a very special vehicle, a Rolls-Royce 1913. And the Rolls-Royce 1913 was here last year. It sat in the middle of the floor in chassis form with engine, gearbox, all the pipework, everything so that we could see what it was like. And last year's video will show you the vehicle sitting just in chassis form. We were promised that it would come back to us this year with the body, and there you see it. And what a finish, an absolutely magnificent piece of engineering. I have to say it was more, if I can be rude and say, more interesting with the body off to someone who likes to see engineering, and most people that come to this show do like to see engineering. But having said that, the body had to go onto it, and it was driven here quite a few miles. It was driven here, no roof, cold day, and it arrived on a dry day, very clean. So what a car, what a car. Sitting beside that, here we have yet another silver car, but a 1968 Aston Martin DB6. Beautiful car. You look at this car and of course you immediately think James Bond. And yes, very similar indeed. Again, the paint finish in this car, the restoration has been absolutely perfect in every way. Everything that you see on the car belongs to the car. There have been no changes. It's got the racing mirrors nicely positioned on the top of the wings. It's got chrome wires. It's a car that, again, you could not find very easily. There's not that many of them for sale. You would have to go to the mainland to find them, and you would pay a lot of money to do so. So, moving on from the DB6, we'll jump across here to another German-built car, the Audi Quattro 1983. Now, this is an absolutely super car. This four-wheel drive Audi, which would have won many rallies for Audi in the 80s and the 90s. And strangely enough, the four-wheel drive system in this car, as everyone thought, was from Audi, the best rally car in the world and what have you. But in actual fact, the four-wheel drive system in this car was actually coming from Harry Ferguson, the tractor man. So that's what made the car what it is today. But look at this car. What a restoration. Again, the value of it just keeps rising and rising and rising. And of course, we have sitting beside it here another unique car that has been in rallies many years, from 1981, an Opel Ascona 400. Opel Ascona 400. And look at that. It's just a lovely car. Amazingly enough, these cars have been produced, a lot of them in white, and of course many rally cars were white. The reason for that is that they were easily seen and not easily kept clean, but easily seen. And I'm standing between two of the best rally cars probably in the world. So I will now bounce over to back to normal road-going car, if you could call this a road-going car. I'm going to talk about a car that I would really love to own. I have a great desire to own this car, but I'm told I'll not own it, and that's by the owner. And that is a Cortina 1500 GT. This is a four-door version, and this would be from the 60s, 1964, 65, and oh, what an example! What an example! It's just the best of the best. Now, that would be of the same running gear as we spoke about earlier on the Ford Classic. So it would be a similar type car. But then we come to the bigger Ford. We're now standing looking at a Ford Granada Mark II, 1984, 2.8i Ghia X. Now that's a lot of badge on a boot lid. But there we have Granada 2.8i Ghia X. This particular model, you could put a rear spoiler on it, a front spoiler on it. It has the TRX alloys, which are of a metric size. It has got full leather upholstery. This was a gentleman's car on its day. This was the best that you could buy from Ford. And this particular one, owned and cared for by one of our local enthusiasts. Absolutely lovely. That is in a light metallic blue. Beautiful car, absolutely beautiful. I think we'll move on maybe to a Rover V8 over here. This Rover V8, it's a P6 Rover. This V8 engine has been with Rover and British Leyland for many, many years. Again, a bulletproof engine. This is a 1972 Rover P6. Another big, comfortable family luxury car. And this one, as you can see, is very well presented. Sitting beside that, a white MGB GT, and again, a very nice example from the 60s, 68, 69, chrome bumpered, obviously. And beyond that, a very unique black and maroon Wolseley 1500. Which again from the BMC factory came out with the Wolseley badge on it, and that is a very, very nice example of a Wolseley 1500, and that would be 1957, a two-tone colour. As you can see here, we're moving down to another Rover, an older Rover, and it's from 1960, and again two-tone, and both greens complement each other very well indeed. And that car is from 1960. And all of these cars in here, of course, are all owned locally by local enthusiasts who assist us in our findings. And we'll move on down then to very early now, in 1927. We're stepping down now. We're going way back now. And this 1927 Austin Clifton Tour. Now that's a different kettle of fish altogether, where you have no glass, the only glass in the windscreen, the side screens are plastic, there's a hood on it, there's no heater on it, it would be drafty, but that's the way it was. And to restore that car now, you're not going to find bits and pieces for that on the internet as you do for your Ford Cortinas and your Austin Allegros and what have you. That particular car, if you were to restore that, it might take a bit of time and a bit of money. And in the same era, 1928, Hillman 14. It's green and black. We're back to two-tone again. And again, unusual. Hillman 14, where would you find one? But however, we were very lucky to find this one. And it's just in lovely order with the old brass headlamps and the grill. Now you will find the odd blemish here and there on these old cars, but there are things that are just not replaceable. You just can't buy them. So I think we should maybe take a walk through now onto what I call the shelf. It's actually the top table for a bridal party, but we call it the shelf, and we put short cars up there, usually minis, but not always minis. The first mini that we will see is a Mark I Mini Woody Estate, but it's called a Mini Traveller, and it's got the wood frame at the back of it and the hinges on the outside of the door. That makes it Mark I, and the moustache type grille. That is 1964, and again beautifully restored, and almond green paintwork. Quite a lot of these cars were made by BMC, but the wood would have went very rotten, and therefore the whole vehicle went rotten when the wood got damp and wet. But you can buy all the bits and pieces for these, and we're very pleased to have that on show. Sitting beside that, just a nice, plain, ordinary Austin Cooper. An Austin Cooper 998cc. Very valuable little car. You could easily give 10 to 12,000 pounds for one of those, maybe even more in that condition. That one has again been restored and very sympathetically restored. Then we have Ford Fiesta Super Sport from 1980, and as you can see, the stripes up the side of it, that's what makes it the Super Sport, and the checkered upholstery. A great example from Ford. A great example. We have someone doing a bit of engineering here, just tweaking a few things on this very nice 1946 Standard 8. A Standard 8 in black, and it's just absolutely beautiful. But now, what is this animal sitting beside the Standard 8? Well, an AMG Metro 6R4. They were made especially by British Leyland. They were made for one thing and one thing only, that was to rally. And they were untouchable. They were close to the Audi Quattro. They were beating Audi Quattros. They are some piece of kit. This one is owned by a Mini enthusiast who has supplied us vehicles for this shelf. Mini Coopers, Mini Cooper S's, every shape and form of Mini you can think of. This particular one is his own pride and joy. It has not been rallied, and to be honest, £200,000 would not buy this car. It is just as you see it, just out of the factory. It'll not see a rally, and that's a good thing in our eyes, that it won't see a rally. So I don't know what this gentleman's going to do next year, because he has been supplying his minis for a long time. He needs to get another project, and have it ready for us next year. A Talbot Sunbeam, a Raleigh Sunbeam. It's a 1979 Talbot Sunbeam, all set up for rallying. The money in that car, it'd be just unreal. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds actually to do one event, and then you have to go and buy yourself more suspension and more tyres, more everything. This little car would have been out there with the big boys and the Mark II Escorts, and very competitive indeed. And sitting beside that, a 1966 Riley Kestrel. Now it comes from the 1100, 1300 era. And there was an Austin 1100, a Morris 1100, an MG 1100, a Wolseley 1100, 1300. But the one that you want is a Riley, because there's so few of them. Anything in Riley form is very difficult to find. Again, this man has been supplying his vehicles over the years, and this is his pride and joy with a Riley badge on it. An absolutely lovely car. Again, another car in here that I would want. There's a lot of cars in here that I would want. I don't need them, but I would want them. And this particular tractor is an orchard tractor. You'll see it's very narrow, and I mean very narrow. Made for vineyards, orchards, used a lot in Italy and what have you. But it's a multi-power 135, and if you can see the lack of width in this tractor, it almost looks wrong. You think to yourself, that can't be right. That just looks wrong. But that's the way it had to be. It had to go between the trees or the vines. And again, this one has been restored, found somewhere, probably in orchard country up here, and again, restored to perfection. Lovely tractor indeed. 1916 Indian motorcycle. Now this I tried to find the valuation of this, but the fact that it says do not touch on it somewhere would indicate to me that it is probably something that I could not value, because it's just so unique. That motorcycle, I would say is only one of maybe two in this country. This particular one, it's an IB registration now. It's from Northern Ireland, IB 990, and as you can see, as you look around it, there's nothing left to chance. There's nothing left to do. It's all absolutely built to perfection. If it hasn't been re-chromed, it's been nickeled. Obviously a motorcycle enthusiast. And beside that, of course, the flat tank BSA, equally a nice motorcycle, absolutely lovely. And we'll just speak about the commercials when we're up here. A Ford Thames 300e van. Most people would call it a 100e van because the same vehicle in car form, saloon, is called a 100e. So when you see this van, you think there's a 100e van, but in actual fact it's not. It's a 300e van, and the 300 being the weight, if you like. That has been restored, and it's in Ford Sahara Beige. That is correct. Some people might look at it and think, wrong colour. No, Ford Sahara Beige, and inside the van is as good as outside the van. Here we have a Morris Oxford MO van. Looks like a big Morris Minor, really. And this van is shedding its paint, as you can see in places, but it's not rusty and it's not rotten. No holes in it. And the reason for that is it was bought by a wine shop in London. It sat outside the wine shop for X number of years probably. Then it was put away and dry stored. The paint started to fall off it. But this gentleman bought the van. There's 4,800 miles in this van. And it's perfect underneath. And it's perfect on the top as well, other than the paint is falling off it. So it's covered in wax so that it doesn't go any further in terms of rust. And the gentleman is very wise. The gentleman that owns it is very wise in the fact that he is not going to paint this van. This van will be left in its original condition. No blisters, no holes, no rot. Commercials are very expensive. Commercials are very hard to find because you can understand if you buy a commercial, you buy it to work, and it works hard. Whether it be wine boxes or cement blocks, they work hard. They're through in the corner and another one is bought. To find something like this, I think I would agree with him. I would not paint this van. So there we go. That's a display of vehicles for all to see. And if you do intend to come to the show, I don't think you'll be disappointed. There's something here for everyone, every era. And of course, I have to say again, it's for cancer research, and that's why we do it. The main reason why we do it is we are totally enthused about classic vehicles. We get the buzz out of it, and cancer research gets the funding out of it.
So Bill, thank you very much for having me today. A fabulous display of cars this year for 2017 at the Classic Car Show. And Bill, next year none of the cars will be repeated here. It's changed every year.
That's absolutely correct. We do not repeat a vehicle for at least 15 years. I think there's one in here today that was here 15 years ago. We had to have it back. But our rule is that we don't want you to look at the same car twice every year after year after year. The cars are still out there. I don't know when we'll run dry. Maybe we'll never run dry. Let's hope we don't. But we do not repeat a vehicle if we can help it. If we have to do it, it will be at least 15 years ago. Let's not forget, of course, that we have stalls here as well for old car parts and polish and bric-a-brac and antiques and something for the ladies as well. And it's all at the back of the hall here, all accessible. So I hope everyone comes next year, because we hope to be here on our 24th year. It's been a pleasure to set the show up and to show all of you people and take you back a step back in time. Thank you very much, Stavros.
Thank you very much, Bill. Thank you. And that is where I will leave you today from the Slieve Donard Resort and Spa here in Newcastle in County Down. I've really enjoyed my time here today, going around looking at these cars. Such a high standard of car on display here. And thank you all very much for watching, and I will talk to you all again in the next video. Until then, take care. Cheers.